Here's a long scary story for your YouTube channel. There was a small village nestled deep in the woods, far away from civilization. The villagers were a tight-knit community, and everyone knew everyone else's business. But they all had one thing in common: they were all afraid of the woods that surrounded their village. Legend had it that a witch had lived in the woods for centuries, and she had cursed the land. No one had ever seen her, but they had all heard her cackling laughter echoing through the trees at night. Parents told their children to never venture into the woods alone, or else they would be lost forever. One day, a young boy named Timmy decided to explore the woods. He had heard the stories of the witch, but he didn't believe in them. He wanted to see what lay beyond the village, and so he set off with his backpack and a sense of adventure. At first, the woods were beautiful. The trees were tall and majestic, and the sunlight filtered through the leaves in a way that made everything seem magical. Timmy felt like he was in a fairy tale. But as the day wore on, the woods began to change. The trees grew closer together, and the sunlight disappeared. The air grew colder, and the sounds of the village faded away. Timmy felt a sense of unease, but he pushed on. Then, he heard it, the witch's laughter. It was high-pitched and piercing, and it seemed to be coming from every direction at once. Timmy tried to run, but he realized that he was lost. He stumbled through the woods, searching for a way out, but the trees all looked the same. And then he saw her, the witch. She was old and hunched over, with a crooked nose and a cackling laugh. She beckoned him closer, and Timmy felt himself drawn towards her. But then he remembered something his mother had told him, that witches could be defeated with kindness. So, he walked towards the witch with a smile on his face. And he offered her his backpack as a gift. The witch's laughter turned into a smile, and she accepted the gift. She told Timmy that he was the first person to show her kindness in centuries, and she promised to guide him back to the village. And so, Timmy followed the witch out of the woods, and he emerged in the village square, where the villagers were waiting for him. They were amazed to see him alive and well, and they listened in awe as he told them his story. From that day on, the villagers were no longer afraid of the woods. They realized that the witch was not a monster, but a lonely old woman who had been cursed by fear and isolation. And so, they made it their mission to be kind to everyone they met, knowing that even the scariest stories can have a happy ending. As I reached for the light switch, my hand brushed against something hairy. I froze, my heart racing as I slowly turned around to face the thing in the darkness. But when I flicked on the light, there was nothing there, except for a single strand of long, black hair on my hand. As I was walking home from work late one night, I heard footsteps behind me. I quickened my pace, but so did the footsteps. When I finally turned around, there was no one there, but I could still hear the footsteps getting closer. Every night, I heard strange scratching sounds coming from inside the walls of my apartment. I assumed it was just rats or mice, but one night I finally decided to investigate. When I knocked on the wall, the scratching stopped, and a voice whispered back to me. When I was a child, my parents would always tell me to never look into mirrors at night. I never understood why, until the night I woke up to see my reflection staring back at me with glowing red eyes and a sinister grin. The babysitter. She was babysitting two young children when the phone rang. The voice on the other end of the line asked, "Have you checked on the children?" She laughed it off, thinking it was just a prank call, but then she heard a strange noise coming from upstairs. The knocking. Late one night, there was a knock at the door. When the homeowner opened it, there was no one there, but as he closed the door, he heard the knocking again, coming from inside the house. The mirror. Every time she looked into the mirror, she saw a reflection that wasn't quite right. As I walked down the deserted hallway, I heard a faint whisper behind me. I turned around, but no one was there. I started walking faster, and the whisper grew louder and more urgent. Suddenly, I felt a cold breath on my neck, and a voice whispered in my ear, "Don't turn around." The old, abandoned mansion had always been rumored to be haunted, but I never believed it until the night I stayed there alone. As I lay